Hey, you found the Midwest Motoring Podcast. We're an automotive podcast about just about, well, everything automotive. From news, reactions, reviews, and everything and anything in between. We're kind of like one of those long road trips you take where you get lost and you don't know where you're at, but suddenly you find where you're going and you look back fondly on that journey and go, that was half the fun. So come along and enjoy the ride with us. Hello and welcome back to the Midwest Motoring Podcast. My name is Matt. I'm joined in studio today by Alex and Jess. I'm so excited that you guys are joining me today. We've got some pretty sweet topics today we're going to talk about. There's some movement in the automotive space that's really, I mean, for me, it's really grinding my gears, but it's a potential profit that a lot of automotive spaces are going to be maybe looking to, and if we can do anything, it's to quell that, and you'll be learning about that here in this episode. The other part of this episode, we're going to be talking about a $30,000 project car challenge. We're going to call this segment the Project Car Challenge, and every so often we're going to be coming to you guys with a different project car that we have found within a particular budget. This week we're talking about a $30,000 budget, but who knows, next week we may be talking about a $10,000. The week after we may be talking about a $5,000 or maybe even a $50,000. But the idea is that we're going to find the project car of our dreams within that budget. The idea being that not only are we going to be purchasing the car, but we'll also be doing any of the modifications and changes that we want to that car within our particular budget. Hopefully this leads to us actually doing this in real life eventually, but that requires some sponsorship. So if you would like to sponsor the Midwest Motoring Podcast, by all means, please reach out. But all of that and more on this episode of the Midwest Motoring Podcast, coming to you right after this. Gentlemen, welcome back. How are we doing?
Thank you.
Hey, it's been a minute.
Been a week. Actually, it's been like almost a month.
Yeah.
It's almost been a month. It's going to seem to our fans like a week because that's about how quickly this edit will be going together. But yeah, it's been about a month. So what have you guys been up to?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been kind of doing work. Been trying to stay warm. Here in Ohio, we've had our fair share of some pretty crappy weather the last couple weeks. So trying to stay warm. Luckily, I have both Alex and I both have Audis right now, and Quattro all-wheel drive feels really nice in the snow.
It's a lifesaver.
Dude, I miss Quattro all-wheel drive ever
good.
since I got rid of my Audi A6. But it is a lifesaver, you know, and you feel confident when you're driving an Audi. Like the all-wheel drive knows what it's doing, and 100%. You can feel it. Especially like in the A6 that I have, it was the real Quattro all-wheel drive. I don't know what are the A4s now still standard Quattro, or are they the Haldux system?
It changes in generations, and I don't know because I have a B8. Jess has a B8.5, so I don't actually know. It's a good question.
Yeah, because I was looking at the S3s, and they were the Haldux, right? Because they had the transfers, 5-cylinder, and all that. But I do miss my A6. Alex and I we were talking before the show about like how my A6 got totaled, and it was like such a minuscule thing that happened to it. I miss that car so much every day. But actually, I have a really, really nice truck, and the only reason I'm really reminiscing about my Audi is because my truck's in the shop, and so I can't drive my truck.
Yeah, so that's basically what I've been up to.
Alex,
playing some video games.
Ooh, which ones?
As well. Apex Legends, League of Legends, anything with Legends.
All kind of Legends.
All the Legends. What's your I'm a Xbox guy, so I call it a gamer tag. But what's your like tag? What's your like name? What can people find you under?
I'm super original, and mine is Jess Myers 5.
Wow.
It's my favorite number, my first and last name.
No one is ever going to mix that up.
Nope, pretty easy.
I'm Scarface B on Xbox, and I'm Jericho 941 on a lot of platforms on the PC. I need to buy myself another PC. I'm missing some PC gaming. Alex, what about you, sir?
Yeah, man, kind of the same thing. been laying low, trying to stay warm. It's been really cold lately. But yeah, no, I've been doing a fair amount of gaming myself. I've been putting a decent amount of hours into Forza Horizon 5.
Such a good game.
It's nice, man. It's fun to.
Did you get the McLaren F1?
I think I did. Yeah.
I missed out on that like monthly challenge, and I'm really kicking myself in the ass for that because like I wanted that car. That's my favorite car of all time, and they only did it very, very rarely. So we'll see. Maybe I'll find it another day. But yeah, like that game is awesome.
Nah, it's great. It's got a really good variety of cars.
The world is really good.
I'm
not great. I'm not fantastic, like super into the music, but I have that mostly turned down.
No, I mean, I the only thing I really listen to is the engine note in that game.
What's your channel of choice?
My channel of choice
being like the radio station on the.
Oh, honestly, I don't think I've really changed it that much. I think I have it on the hip hop one. I don't know.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I go in between the hip hop and I think in like the just like
the house music one.
Yeah, the house music one between those. I wonder who is really listening to the classical channel. Like, I'm glad that it's there, but who's listening to the classical channel while...
Hey, if you're driving a 50s Ferrari, you kind of just need to.
I was going to say, it's the guy who doesn't mod any of his cars and just politely drives around his 300 SL.
Politely drives it around. Just, I'm going to enjoy the speed limit.
Just minding my business.
Doesn't crash into pedestrians? Come on.
I do wish there were more pedestrians in Forza 5 where like they would react to you, but the world's kind of sparsely scattered with some pedestrians. So, but yeah, that game is fantastic. If you have not played it, go play it on either Xbox or PC. I highly recommend it. Fantastic. We're gonna get into our first topic here, and this comes to us via Yahoo Finance. They brought out an article asking, can car companies stand to make billions by charging you a monthly fee for add-on features like heated seats? So I asked our panelists to go ahead and read this article, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit about what we think, and then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this, and then we're going to get into our other main topic of the day. So, all right, boys, I asked you guys to read it. What are you guys thinking?
I hate it. I really hate it, man. I don't know what
I don't blame you. I hate it too. Like this is the worst shit ever.
Only thing I want to add is that they talk about in that they talk about companies that are already doing something similar,
right?
And they mention
Volvo.
I think it's Volvo, Toyota,
BMW.
Yeah, they have apps where you can turn on your car remotely, do other things like that, turn on heat, whatever. And I think some companies already have a subscription model for that. They said like $5 a month or something.
Sure.
So that type of thing I could see, but if we're literally talking about a monthly subscription for heated seats and like adaptive cruise, no.
My whole thing is, if this model does go forward, does that mean that it's going to come standard on every trim level? Because a lot of it is the upfront investment with purchasing these additional things like heated seats or upgrades to the navigation or whatever it may be. It almost diminishes that upfront investment if they're still going to be charging a monthly price. They almost would have to make it blanket. There's one trim level, everything's included.
Right.
It's just whether you want to pay for it in a subscription model.
Well, and that's one of the ideas that the article had, which is that a lot of these manufacturers are tired of building models that have varying degrees of options. What they would way prefer is that they say every car is built the exact same way with every option possible, and that your limit and your ability to access those options would be based on like your monthly subscription fee. So every car would have heated seats. However, that button that turns on heated seats would only work if you pay $5 a month.
Yeah, that sucks. But
wholeheartedly, like that is the worst thing I've ever heard.
I would be really curious to see if this did happen, the kind of workarounds people would do, getting crazy with wiring. I'm sure like some wizard would go through and try to bypass that stuff.
Oh, there'd be unlocked
really
tools
funny.
just like cell phones.
Every.
I mean, you buy an unlocked cell phone, it doesn't have a specific carrier. It's the same sort of thing. You could probably get jailbreaks for the cars, and it would be a new industry.
Could you imagine being like, well, I want to buy a used BMW, but is it a jailbroken BMW?
Honestly, if this happens, I would not be surprised to see stuff like that happen.
You're not wrong.
The other thing is, I have a hard time believing that the benefits and the money earned from something like this model would have to be a very long-term play for it to make financial sense. Because if they're going to be equipping every single car off the line with every single option available, that's expensive. I mean, putting the regulators for heated seats or whatever it may be, all of these additional things that some of the trim levels, they don't even have to include. It's just going to be more cost for them up front.
Sure. Well, and what I read in the article from Yahoo Finance is that the idea is that if they can streamline production to be one model across all boards, it doesn't matter what options are put into it, is that because of the the removal of limitations of going, okay, we're going to build a Platinum model, and then we're going to build a Lariat model, and then we're going to build a XLT model, and like all these changes on the actual assembly line and going back and forth between like product lines, it is so much easier to just say everyone gets the exact same thing, right? And so you're saving money in the terms of production because you're not worrying about the different option levels and the different packages and say, okay, oh, this car or this truck gets this option, and then we're going to produce the next car. Well, it doesn't have radar guided cruise control because it didn't option out these options, right? So it's saying that the savings built from just saying every car has or truck has the exact same option package, and in order to access them, you have to pay money as a consumer, is a savings for the big, the automakers, but it's also a potential massive moneymaker. They're thinking it could equal billions of dollars of profit.
Like hundreds of billions.
Billions, like with a B, not millions, billions with a B. And this is, yes, subscription services. I mean, everyone pays for Netflix. Everyone pays for Spotify. Everyone pays for all these different subscription services. And so, like, hardly anyone pays for cable anymore. And if you do pay for cable, you almost look like you're in the dark ages. Like, why do you pay for cable when you can have all of this at the touch of your fingertips on any streaming service? But, like, I would say 5 years ago, that was like avant-garde to be like, no, I'm cutting the cable of cable. I'm going to go to streaming services. I have my Netflix. I have my even Hulu at the time, right? So these are my go-to providers. Now we're talking about every major network has a streaming service. You've got Peacock. You've got NBC's Gold for sports. You've got Netflix. You've got Hulu. You've got Disney Plus. You've got Discovery Plus. Sure, you can bundle some of those together, but like all of these subscription services, if you look at the full cost, is like it's the exact same cost of a cable subscription. And you get the exact same thing anymore with cable. So why do we give a crap? I censor myself there. Why do we care about the subscription services?
I think part of it, specifically with the subscription services piece, is a lot of people like the freedom of not having a long-term contract like you would with a cable subscription, where it's like each month I could be like, hey, I'm going to cancel this at any time. Do people end up doing that? Usually not. But
right.
Mentally, you're in this mindset of I'm not in a long-term contract for a year. I'm not going to be stuck to this rate.
Sure.
Where also cable companies are notoriously known for at the end of the year being like, well, that was an introductory offer. Let me up the price this following year, and then you feel almost stuck.
I mean, I've done that with like Apple TV. It's like, oh, it's free for a year, and after a year, we're going to charge you $7 a month. I'm like,
YouTube
cool.
TV's the same way.
This will be great. I love it. And then my year just happened, and I got charged $7. I'm like, where the hell did this $7 charge come from? And then I figured out where it's from. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess I'll leave it there. right? Like, and that has happened over and over and over and over. And I know I'm the fool for catching on and like doing it, but like, so I've got Netflix, I've got Hulu, I've got Discovery Plus, I've got Peacock, I've got Disney Plus, I've got like, so all these services add up. Now they want the same model to apply to my car. I'm bleeping myself out of here. Like, that is horrible. Like, as a consumer product that I own the right to this. Not a subscription service, not a product that I'm paying into monthly, but an item that I own. You want to charge me monthly for it? You need to shove it where the sun don't shine. That's what that's what I believe.
I mean, they've been doing it for a while, but in just different regards. I mean, SiriusXM, OnStar, those are kind of the early iterations of this, but those actual features.
But that's not really owned by the automaker.
And it's like OnStar is probably the closest thing, but like that was not required. I mean, you could call someone yourself, and it wasn't. I mean,
and I don't think beyond. I would be curious to know what the adoption rate is beyond the initial. Like, you have this for 2 years for buying a new GM product, OnStar. What happens after that? Do people really buy into OnStar and like continue it? I'm not saying that's wrong or right, because there's some great services. Like, if you get in an accident and are unable to,
it automatically calls for you. Like, that's huge.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Also, that gets into the whole topic of should safety be something that's monetized. But I don't want to open up that can of worms.
Moly, that could be a conversation in and of itself.
I don't want to open up that can of worms. But yeah, you're right. It's very much one of those things where it's like, I don't know if there's benefit past that trial.
Alex,
I don't see it.
So on your Audi, you've got heated seats.
That's the only option. Yeah.
So if you had that only option, and then at the end of this month they were like, by the way, you don't have access to this in your subscription unless you pay us a $5 a month fee, what would you do?
Well, right now it's cold, so I would keep it and then think about it, because I wouldn't have it for very long.
But would you really think about it, or would you forget about it and then be like, "Oh, well, it's cold again"?
And that's the thing, is when I was initially reading this, I was thinking, because the main thing that they brought up was heated seats. So if I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I could see that, like, in the winter months you put it on, take it off the rest of the year. But then I'm thinking like, but you could just have it whenever you want it,
even in the summertime.
I was almost trying to justify this in my head, and I just can't, man. Like, there isn't, and it really makes me think about the future of the aftermarket, or the future of the used car market.
Sure.
Because what happens when you buy this new car and now you go to sell it? Let's say it's got 60K miles.
They wipe it. They wipe.
Do they wipe it? Do you have to pay a subscription model on a used car?
Oh,
now?
Sure. Oh, yeah. If they followed this model, they're going to wipe that after you get rid of it. They're going to figure out a way that, the title changed. Like, we're watching the title, and they're going to wipe that car, or they're going to have every used car maker wipe the car and be like, by the way, if you'd like this certified pre-owned Audi, it's $20,000.
Okay.
But if you'd like all the features, it's going to cost you $30,000.
But now, okay, so if I didn't get it from an authorized dealer, let's say I just went to the local used car lot, and it's 2050, and they've been doing this for 30 years at this point.
They're going to have somebody who paid into a subscription. So you're going to either get the random old person who forgets to cancel the satellite radio, which I've bought a car that way, or it's going to be somebody who immediately canceled all the subscriptions on the car because they sold it, right? And they're paying attention. I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't in that world, and that if we move to that, the intelligent ones of us will cancel it. Oh no, yeah. I'm no longer paying like a monthly fee because I sold my car. Get rid of my subscription fee.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I do not want the platinum.
And then
Audi
the new owner
fee.
would just have to call up the manufacturer if they wanted to add it. I just bought this car. I'd like to add heated seats. It has it, so.
As somebody who's bought used cars, like, the idea intrigued me from a perspective of like, I'd really like some of these features, but some of the features are hard set features. Like on the Audi A6, I really wanted the LED array headlights. They're really cool LED, full LED headlights where, yes, they have the weird swoop and the daylight running lights, but every light was about, 8 inches of LED. And they had some pretty cool features about them. And so I wanted that, but I couldn't have it because I just didn't find the right deal. If you're telling me every car had that, and all I had to do is pay a specific feature to get high beams, maybe I would have done it.
I think it also begs the question of, like, it's really going to be interesting when right now a lot of used cars can fetch premiums based on their options and their spec, as a lot of car people we would call it, but based on the color combination, based on the different choices that were made initially on build. This would completely change that. And I think that's actually even a cool thing about cars is like the hunt to find the exact
right one.
Oh, yeah. Or it's like, I can settle on this one that has most of what I want. Sure, there's some of that. And it's just like,
I like the word settle in there.
That's part of like car buying, and that's kind of fun.
Sure.
Doing the research on which parts you really want.
And which is true, but if I'm not a car person and I'm just an average buyer, I don't care about that. I just want to find the car.
You want the functions that you want.
Yeah, which is the majority of the
So
the
beyond color and beyond trim package, like what does anyone care about? Because you're exactly right, Jess, is like when I looked at my Audi, like I had to settle. I was like, I found a prestige version. It was a prestige Audi with all the features that I wanted except for the LED array headlights. And you know what I said? I'll settle. I settled for that. If you're telling me that with a subscription fee I could have upgraded to have those headlights, dang, I might have done so, because there were plenty of times, and my wife knows this, that I'd be driving down the road and I'd see an A6 like with those LED array headlights, and I go, I should have found the other one. And she go, I know you should have, and you said you should have. Like, so if it gets to that level, are they just playing with our heartstrings on this?
Okay, but I think I agree with that, but I do think that the price matters a lot.
Sure.
So if it was $5 a month, I feel like that'd be a no-brainer for you. If it was $25 a month, would you want that for your headlights?
But what if they rolled that into a package? So you know how every car's got like, so let's use Audi, because we know Audi's pretty well. You have the premium package, you have the premium plus package, and then you have the prestige package. So what if when you bought a car, it had every package installed, you paid for the level. So your platinum or premium package was $10 a month, your premium plus was $15, or your prestige was $30 a month. Would you feel comfortable paying $30 a month or deciding between those?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about a package of options versus singular options, like paying, $15 a month for cruise control or something.
Yeah. I think, honestly, the car manufacturers, if they want to do this, will do it as packages. Because makes more sense. In the article, it talks about how BMW put out an article, and I think they did this on purpose to see what the public opinion was. It was like, hey, if we charged per year to access Apple CarPlay, what would you do? And the overwhelming response was like, F you. If you charge for Apple CarPlay, we're done. Right? And so they walked that back.
Well, it's almost slighting to the customer of like, hey, you have all these features installed, but we're not going to let you use them.
Yeah.
It's very much like internet companies throttling, or whether you're buying like hardware for a PC, but it's underclocked and you're unable to actually access its full potential because of the factory settings.
Yep.
And there's a lot of instances where, I mean, enthusiasts especially are going to be people that are going to be the most outraged by it, because it seems sleazy. It's just, you have access to it. You very well know that it's all there, but they're just limiting it and letting you not use it and enjoy it.
It's almost insulting.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was thinking is, like, especially talking Audi, in Audi nomenclature, a lot of those are actually like hardware features and differences. So like the different types of seats, whether you have the sport package or the other one. And it's like, sure, some of these are digitally things that can be accessed, but when they say, oh, it's all going to be installed and you just have to pick and choose, oh, so they're going to install both steering wheel types on my car
Sure.
or both types of seats? Like,
Right.
there are still different options and different variables that
So-
they need to take into consideration.
That's a good point. And I think they will. I think they will look at other options and say, okay, like if you want the sport option, you as a car manufacturer, they understand exactly what we talked about, which is like models and the variances and finding the right one are valuable. Finding we were talking earlier, Alex, about me finding a truck that I wanted to have as a company vehicle. I had a month to find it. Not that companies knew that I had a month, but they're like, "Oh, well, the month if you want to get what you want, like you can't order it, so you better find what you want in production now." And so I did. I found the one that I wanted, and I had to make sacrifices. I don't like chrome. But my truck has a lot of chrome.
Truck's got a lot of chrome on it.
A lot of chrome. And you know what? I've gotten used to it. I don't care at this point. But at the same point, it's like if you want this color with that in this option, you may either have to order it specialty or you may have to wait for it. And not everybody has that capability. So I do see the pro to this approach beyond the physical condition and physical look of the vehicle is that everyone has access to the options that they want. The massive, and I would say overwhelming, massive iceberg, elephant in the room problem with this entire perspective is paying monthly for something that you own. If you own the right, like you purchased a vehicle with heated seats, you own those heated seats. No one should tell you that you can or cannot use them.
Well, and I guess the other thing that I was thinking is how would they adjust MSRP? So
Sure.
if we're talking like, let's say you have a $60,000 car right now, and that's fully loaded, all the options you want. If you did the same thing with this model, you can't charge $60,000 and then monthly fees. So I don't know what obviously it's going to be different for every business. I don't know what everyone's overhead looks like and stuff, but whatever the point is where they're going to be making money off of that, I feel like it's
ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure every business will find a way to do it. What I'm telling all the businesses, if they're listening, Ford, GM, Chrysler, Fiat, VW, Audi, BMW, all of you, pay attention. The consumer does not want this. I understand you can make money off of it. You can make money off of prostitution, but it's illegal. Right, and what you're proposing, or what Yahoo Finance is proposing, should be illegal. If unless you lease the vehicle, this is illegal. You should not charge me monthly for something that I own.
Yeah.
And if the feature is locked behind a paywall, we all have ad blocker. We all hate the paywalls on all of the websites that
I'll
we go to.
find a jailbreaker real quick.
Quick, right? And that would make you a felon. And would you feel good about that? Hell yes, I would.
If
I'm
it meant
saving money.
Oh,
if
dude.
it meant that I didn't have to deal with this crap,
And
you know what? I did it on an iPod Touch.
Dude,
I
you
will
brought
do
up
it to this
such
car.
an amazing point, and I didn't even think about it reading this article. Is like, what would that do to the aftermarket of jailbreak cars? Right? It's like, hell,
It's a new industry.
My BMW M3 is jailbroken. Oh, it's gonna fetch $150K, right? Even though it was $120K.
It'll be
Because
the
you
new
spent-
option.
Yeah,
or the
because
new
you spent
high
so
spec.
much money to try to like jailbreak it. Like this is such an asinine idea, and I've talked to a bunch of people in the industry, and this is like the worst thing they've ever heard. And I want everyone out there to know it's like my opinion, and we'll go through the room real quick. My opinion is that if this is the idea of our auto industry, I understand they want to make money. This is not the right way.
It almost reads like a parody article. Like, it's insane.
It should be on
Like,
The
this is
Onion,
ridi-
right?
Yeah,
It should be
like-
on The Onion.
Yeah, it does seem almost like a joke. Like,
Jess,
are
what-
you serious?
what are your thoughts on it?
My overwhelming thoughts are this is stupid. I would not be paying for any of these features, even if it becomes a thing where they paywall everything. Out of spite, I would decide absolutely not. Or I would find someone to jailbreak
At that
it.
point, I might just go find a classic, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I immediately thought, like, oh, well, then I just never buy a new car again.
Yeah.
Like, that-
It's funny because the cars that we currently have would be worth a lot of money.
Oh, sure.
Because they would have unlocked options.
Yeah, well, yeah, they
You
would.
think about the used car market. There's already a bubble right now because of chip shortage and everything. This would just be like, wow, all of these subscription cars are going to be coveted items.
It's almost like I'm a firearms guy, so it's like if you look at 1990s guns that are like pre-ban or 1980s guns that are pre-ban, like they fetch a bigger price tag because there's some feature that is banned after that. Same thing would be with these cars. You're 100% right. Alex, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is just tough one, man. I don't like. I'm really trying to like see
some positives,
even from their perspective. Obviously, and the article mentions it. They're looking at tech companies, subscription services.
Here's a positive:
and
billions of dollars.
Yeah,
billions with a B.
Obviously, that's a big deal.
They're struggling right now,
and they don't make a lot of money off of making cars.
The automakers are starving. They're eating ramen every night.
Yeah, it's yeah, they are 100%.
They make money off service. They'll still.
That is mostly where that is where almost all the money.
I'm thinking
comes
about
from
this,
like
my Ford has like automatic start, and it's done through the key. If they paywalled that, I would be furious because I know it can do it.
What about the fact that your truck can become a generator?
Yeah, if they
you don't get that unless you pay for it.
This is I've already cursed once on this particular podcast, and I have to edit it. But you know what? Hold on for it. That is ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we're all kind of in agreement that this is a really dumb idea that is just going to, I hope, be a lot of public outrage just in general. Even non-car people, I think, are going to be like, really? This is pretty ridiculous.
And this is like the type of thing that just sounds like it was made up by a bunch of finance guys in an office who
they see a
didn't
number.
look at any marketing or any numbers on what people actually
want.
It's
an accountant that went, how can we make more money?
Here's this is margin.
We're going to charge for your automatic transmission.
Did you consider that that's insane?
Oh, please. Lord, please make them charge monthly for automatic transmission so we all can learn to drive manuals, please. I would pay happily.
Do you want to use your paddle shifters?
Oh, dude, no, not at all. Give me a clutch and a stick.
No, but honestly, think about it. That could potentially be a paid option.
Everybody who buys like a Raptor, Ferrari, BMW, Audi, anything with paddles,
they're all automatics, except you have to
hundreds of dollars a year.
Dual transmission. They have an automatic and they have a manual. You have to pay for the manual or the paddles.
That I don't.
Dual clutch. You have to pay for the second one.
So okay, we're all in agreement. Go to Yahoo Finance. Tim Levin was the author of this article, and I think we all agree, and I think all of you out there agree.
Come on, Tim.
Screw that idea.
Come on, Tim.
Well, I think it's not Tim's idea.
Poor Tim, man.
Yeah. Tim's just the messenger in this.
He's just doing his job, and they told him to write an article that's dumb.
Or he at least found one that
or
seemed a little dumb.
automakers decided to bring up this topic that's dumb, and he had to report on it.
I will say this, though. Like the article talked about, we already mentioned this. BMW tried this, and they kind of started putting out feelers about how, what if they charged for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto? And like wholeheartedly, the entire like consumer industry was like, no. And so they walked that back. But like, if they just do it, what are we going to do?
That one makes more sense than actual physical features to me.
Well, but the thing is...
But I love that more than I probably love my heated seats. Apple CarPlay and Google Maps.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Great.
It's probably more useful and more widely used
Here's the thing, like...
But I say, because it's a tech...
Sure.
It's a tech feature versus a actual physical feature.
Well, but so I had a C7 A6 Prestige. Mm-hmm. It had navigation. My wife, and it was a 2013. My wife had a 2013 Genesis. I think it's the 3.8 liter, right? My point being is that they both had navigation. They are both horrible. And if you're telling me that I could just plug a phone in and use Google Maps, which is tried and true that everybody loves, and I could use the same thing, like, that is on the bleeding edge of me going, yes, I will pay for that feature.
If you have a phone, you do not need a navigation system in your car.
No.
It's that simple.
And that's the I think the hard stop is that as much as I want that phone on a screen that my car has and that whole interface, I mean, I could hack that. I could go buy a Pioneer radio that does the exact same thing. Or I could just screw the radio that my car puts in, get a windshield mount, and just mount my phone there. And I have a big enough phone that's like a small tablet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Alex and I yesterday were looking at solutions for our generation A4. I mean, there's company called RSNav. They have replacement 10.5-inch screens that are Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatible.
Sure.
For older cars. And it plugs in. It uses the same buttons and interface that is already built into the car based on wiring. And they figured out a way to do it. So, I mean, people are going to figure out a way to circumvent these things.
Yeah. So the long and short of it is, automakers, don't do it. Because you know what's going to happen is we're just going to figure out a way around it.
And then we're going to get all of our features for free.
Yeah.
And then we don't even have to pay up front for the different
and
trim
then they're
levels.
Losing money.
Yeah, then
everyone
then
has
losing,
a Prestige.
Dude, yeah, this is such a bad idea. Don't do it. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about our choice in project car of $30,000 or less right after this. All right, boys, we're back. So this segment I'm calling the Project Car Challenge. That's just the title. We had a other working title for it originally, but I think we're just going to call it like the Project Car Challenge. And every so often we're going to be doing this segment where we will be modifying the rules of the game. This time I thought we'd start off easier. I know we've done this with Mike Andreski and myself previously, but this is some new hosts and some new guests. So we're going to do $30,000 or less project cars. So what I want to find, and this is I used project car loosely because I wanted everybody to find the vehicle or item of choice that they would like to spend $30,000 on fixing up to be the car they would be happy to be seen in. So the rules were thus: $30,000 with the maximum usage available to everyone. I asked them to go to Facebook, Craigslist, AutoTrader, wherever you could find a car either available for or sold for X amount of dollars. I did not want to see them bring in auctions that were in progress where they could show, oh, yeah, it was $30,000, but it actually then would sell 3 days later for, 10, 15 grand more. So they had to find a completed article, and then when we looked at the modifications that they may or may not want to do, it had to all equal under $30,000. Pretty liberal amount, I think. I thought it was a pretty good amount. They seemed a little bit upset about it at first, but I think we're all good. I do want to say this. Our other co-host, James, was very upset that he had to miss this week. And I said, hey, you know what? You can move into your house or you can play the game. And he chose move into the house. So we're going to start off with Jess.
All right. So,
and by the way, follow along with us. We're going to be posting these all on our Facebook page where you guys can see them. I know that a lot of people are like, hey, I can't see what you're talking about. So we're going to post them there so you can see what we're talking about. And I want everyone's votes to see who had the best choice in Project Car. Jess, take it away.
Yeah, so this one's pretty close to home for me. I decided to stick with pretty much what I've wanted, the upgrade of my current car. So I found a 2014 Audi S4, 3.0 turbo.
All right.
It's a Prestige.
Okay.
So it's kind of the top trim.
What year again?
It's a 2014.
Okay. Ooh, good year.
So it's a B8.5 S4. It has
by the way, so is that the 3-liter supercharged?
Yeah, it says turbo on here, but it's a supercharged because the 2.0 is the turbo. They say it's a 3.0T in their nomenclature, which is...
Well, I think the German word for like turbocharged or supercharged is the exact same.
Yeah.
It's like
compressor.
Compressor or something like that.
The A4 has the turbo. The S4 has a
3-liter supercharged
V6.
Oh, it's so amazing.
Or
such a good motor.
Yeah, and it's very easy to mod. That's partially why I looked at this car. There's a lot of potential for it down the road, even post 30,000. This one,
What did this one?
25,325.
25,325. All right, so you're a little over 25. So you've got what, $4,700 left?
Yeah, it has 81,000 miles. It is an automatic, unfortunately. Gray.
Well, here's the thing: the automatics in those were dual clutch automatic transmissions.
Yeah, they have paddles.
A fantastic transmission.
Yeah, and I mean, it'd be fun. You still got paddles. You still have the ability for it to be fun. This one is gray, gray metallic,
Which is like standard Audi.
with black and gray Alcantara interior.
Yeah, that's standard S Audi.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty much
that is the most Audi, like consumer Audi I've ever heard. And you know what? I'm mad that I haven't bought it.
Yeah, it's a great car.
Right?
I was looking at a couple different mod options. I've wanted to build even my A4. I've thought about in the previously doing some modification work, but it's my daily driver. It's not something I
Alex, write this down so
do.
we're keeping track of his costs.
Gotcha.
I want to make sure we're not going over 30,000, and if we do, we mercilessly give him crap. So it was 24.
24 or it's 25,325.
Oh, 25,325. Okay.
The next thing that I would get is 19-inch Avant-Garde M580 wheels.
Ooh.
Pretty.
We're going to link all this stuff in a post, by the way, so you guys can follow along.
Those come to $1,675 for a set of 4.
To the calculator. All right.
Yeah, keep me honest because I was rough.
What colors were these wheels?
They are a very, very nice brushed alloy wheel. This is what it looks like here, so you can see.
Okay.
That is the
off of ECS tuning. Almost very HRE.
They're
100%.
It's the look that I've always loved on
ECS,
these Audis.
man.
It looks so.
If you want
good
to
on that
sponsor this
car.
podcast, come on, ECS. I know you're
Ohio based.
Ohio based. We're right here in Dublin.
This is the cheapest coilover set from ECS Tuning. They make a great product from what I've heard, and $675
$95
for 4 coilovers. I mean, adjustable coilovers
for a full-on adjustable coilover. Who the heck makes these for $600?
ECS. They're
ECS brand. Oh, okay, ECS. I see what you're putting down.
They came out about a year and a half ago.
ECS, if you want to sponsor, we'll put them on a car. We'll figure them
They've
out.
also got an awesome, very affordable valved exhaust for the B8s.
I
and
know,
B8.5s.
it's like-
ECS does?
It's
Yes.
like $850 for a valve.
How
sounds
are they
great.
doing an
Or-
exhaust?
It might be $850 for the non-valved, but they have a turbo back and a cat back
like,
I
version.
think the valve is
I
like
think
a
12
grand or
AC
11.
What was it?
it's
ACE
fine.
had to stop. AWE had to stop making exhaust because of the EPA.
I mean, I was looking at exhaust. That's one thing I considered, but it's too expensive
Dude.
for Armatrix or
Oh no, those are
It's
those
like
are
$3 grand.
stupid expensive.
Armatrix. You got some of the others.
I got a quote for my A6 to straight pipe it from just a local muffler shop, and it was $600.
Yeah, Miltech, Armatrix,
Straight pipe an A6,
APR.
dude. It would have sounded so good.
That would have
Yeah.
been ridiculous, man.
Any of the big companies at Armatrix, Miltech, APR, they're all like
Sure.
$2,500 to $4,000 for
If you
full
want a
set.
good stainless steel exhaust system, it's $2,500 plus.
Yeah.
I bought a $900, not stainless. It was aluminized. I forget the word for it, but it was steel. But they kind of it was another way for it. But it was, I think it was Stainless Works did it, and it was a awesome sounding exhaust on my GTO. Shit! Oh shoot! I should have looked for GTOs. But they're probably very expensive. I didn't look for them, though.
Yeah, so, I mean, looking at exhaust, that is a potential thing I could do, which I would be going with the ECS tuning package, which is about $1,250 for a dual or a quad exit exhaust that is a turbo back exhaust. And that would still be within my budget to do, but what I decided I would rather do is go more the tune route. So I would go like a stage 2 and then you would get a downpipe. So you would have to get a high flow downpipe and a stage 2 tune, which I think all in ends up coming to around $1,500. I would have to check my math on that. I didn't look up specifically for the S4 today, but I've looked in the past because personal curiosity. So I'd be right at around 29 at that point.
So what do you think that would cost? As somebody who's looked at it but not really...
About $1,500 for a downpipe and a stage 2 tune. And then the last thing I would do, just for more aesthetic, with my remaining $1,000 would be get a kit for skirts, rear valence, and a front bumper. And you could find 1,000 different variations, and you could get, even if it's just the ABS plastic painted version, you could get that under $1,000 for all 3 pieces. So that's kind of the build.
That's a pretty good build, man. Why did you choose what you did? Why did you go after the B8.5?
I love my B8.5 A4. I think it's a great car. It's a dependable car. It's a very usable and practical car, but it also would be fun. There's a lot of potential for even past 30,000. If you were to put more money into it, you can get upgraded pulleys. You can get a lot more stuff. And these cars, with some modification, even say 35,000 or 32,000, you can come in at 500 plus horsepower pretty quickly.
It's pretty impressive.
I'm going to show both of you guys one of the accounts I follow that is basically the build that I would be looking to do.
Oh, yeah.
I love that ducktail spoiler.
It looks so good on these cars.
That front end is definitely an RS6 front end, though, or an RS front end.
Yeah, I mean, so the RS grill.
Well, the whole bumper is RS.
He has a custom RS bumper. It looks almost like the RS3 bumper.
You're going to have to post these photos in Facebook, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. Facebook. I'll send them to you. But these are the wheels. That's them on coilovers. It's very much the build direction or what I would be looking at.
Okay.
I mean, you could find pretty much all of this stuff, and all of this stuff would be kind of the type of inspiration that I would be looking at.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about everybody's different builds, and then we're going to go into what we think about everybody's builds. We're going to do that right after this. All right. So we talked about Jess's vehicle of choice. Alex, you good to go?
Yep.
All right. We're going to keep you. So where did we end up? 28?
That's minus the...
Minus taxes?
No, that's minus the, cosmetic valance and bumper and rear and front.
So let's say 29.
You think it's going to be $1,000 just for all the valances? I think you're pushing higher than that.
Well, that's $27,675 plus $1,500. So
was
that's
the $1,500 for the valances?
No. $1,500 was for the tune and the downpipe.
So do you really think you're buying the valance, the rear spoiler, and all that for less than $1,200?
Yeah, you can buy ABS plastic versions. You don't have to buy carbon.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I don't need a carbon.
Yes, you do.
Bumper.
Yes, in that build you do.
I mean, you could. Like I said, there is room for upgrades. But
all right. So so we're sitting about what do we want to call that, Alex? Let's figure out the final tally on his before we move on to yours. You want to say 29.5?
Yeah.
Let's do 29.7.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably pretty
29.7 is, I think, is pretty close.
If I wanted to, I could squeeze every dollar out of it.
Sure. I mean, obviously we can go more, right? But the idea is how close did we get, and what are we getting for the money?
Yeah.
All right, Alex. So we've talked about Jess's B85 S4. Good choice. Strong choice.
It is.
What are you working with?
Oh, man. If I had the money, I would buy this car right now, man.
The one you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
On Craigslist, I found a local seller, and he has a 2001, which would be an E46 M3 convertible. Convertible.
Okay.
With the stick, it is silver with a red interior. It's got under 100K miles on it, and it is clean. Really well
How
taken
many
care
miles?
of. About 91.
Okay.
It's super clean. According to the guy, he's done a ton of maintenance on the car, kept it up really nice, and it shows.
What year is this?
01.
Okay. So it's silver.
Yes.
With the red interior. Okay. Manual.
Yep. Manual. And so that was listed at 21.2.
21.2.
Yes. Yeah, just like that one.
We're looking at a 2001 BMW M3 convertible right now on our screens. So why'd you pick this one, man? First, before you get into the mods, why'd you pick an M3 convertible manual?
Well, first of all, deep down in my heart, I am a BMW guy. I have always loved them, and M3s, especially the E46, has always been on my list. Personally, if I was going to really consider buying one, I'd probably get a coupe, but, you can't beat an open-top fun car. It's just going to be a good time, even if you don't think it looks as good. But these cars are great. I haven't heard anyone complain about them as far as the way they handle performance, all of that. They're fantastic. I think they look great. I think they sound great. And it's just a good deal for a really, really clean one. These are going up in value a lot, and that's a good deal.
Dude, I like this BMW era, and what this BMW looks like is just everything that I want in an M3.
It's perfect.
Like, I enjoy this M3. I enjoy the generation after it, but I think, like, I don't know if it's because this is where I grew up, and, like, these are the M3s I saw when I was a impressionable child, but what is it, E46?
Yep.
E46 M3s are just, like, quintessential M3 in my brain. Mm-hmm. And, like, the M3 now, I don't see it as an M3 because it doesn't harken back to this style.
Yeah.
This is a very strong play, man. Very strong.
I mean, this I agree. This generation of BMW is my favorite design language. I mean, the E39 M5, the 7 Series of the era,
sure.
They're all so good looking.
My dad had a 750 IL of this generation.
Yeah.
And no, sorry, 740. He had a 740 IL. He did have a 750 in the generation prior. I don't think they had the 750 with the V12 because he had the V12.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so good.
See, the thing I like about these like early 2000s BMWs is they definitely like still have a little bit of blockiness to them. Where the modern, like the next generation after this, like I love the E60 M5 and the E90 M3s too, but they became very round. There was a large period of time where all of their models became very round.
Right.
Yeah,
you can see that this harkens back to the E30 M3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is very much like it still has that blockiness, that angle, and they're almost trying to get back to that now, but it almost seems like forced. Whereas this just worked.
I mean, here's another thing. We had a conversation about this, and on our previous episode, we talked about video games that made us, right? Video games that made us car people. Mm-hmm. I think it was Need for Speed Underground or Need for Speed Most Wanted had this as an unlockable. Like, it wasn't the convertible. It was an E46 M3 with riveted fender flares and like wide ass tires, and like it was a boss car, right? You could get it after like winning the pink slip, right? And it was such an awesome car, like, and it revved out to like 8,500 RPMs. Like, it just sounded legit. And so that's what I remember. And every single time I see these, I just think, man, that's a badass car. That is a
100%
badass car.
Yeah.
Even if it's the American version that's slightly dumbed down than I hear the European one is.
Yeah, it is a little less potent, as a lot of European cars are in the States. But yeah, I mean, there were some other good picks that we could get into later, but this was for sure the number one for me. Not to mention, I have a bit of a soft spot for red interiors. I don't know why. I just think they're cool.
I'm right there with you. My 04 GTO was a red exterior with bright red leather interior.
Wow.
It was red on red on red.
That's
on red.
pretty loud.
And you know what?
A lot.
My wife loved it. She was my girlfriend at the time. I loved it, dude. It was sexy as hell. Red leather interior is just like that. Is a confidence.
Yeah. I used to have a friend that had an S4 cab, or like the convertible with a red interior too, and it was silver, and it was the same sort of thing. It's like, man, red interior just looks so sporty. It looks so just cool.
I think it looks especially nice with silver. I don't like white and black also looks good, but silver with that looks just good to me. But that was 21.2. I didn't go into specific like brands of mods.
Okay.
But having 9K to play with, definitely, obviously go through, freshen it up if it needed it. Probably be looking at new tires, possibly new wheels, definitely a catback exhaust. And you don't need much more. Maybe like a good set of coilovers and having them tuned properly. But outside of that, you don't need much with these cars. I think they look great to begin with. The performance is there. And, I'm not interested in putting a turbo on these or anything, especially at this price point. But they're great, and I think this would be a solid pick, and I really wish I had the money.
So, I mean, what would be your proposed idea for this car? Are you looking for a track rat? Are you looking for something that's more track focused? Are you looking for something that's just canyon carving?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably take it to the track. It being a convertible, let's be honestly, if I got this convertible one, probably wouldn't take it to the track very often. But it's definitely like a weekend fun car, and I want it to be as sporty as possible while still being somewhat compliant on the street.
I mean, you could potentially daily something like this too. It's not out of the question. It's not like it's something that you it has 90,000 miles, which is low for this, but you could use it.
100%. No,
yeah,
I mean,
no, I don't think any of these have been you can't use this car at this point.
No, yeah, and there's a lot of options with this one, and yeah, I think it would be kind of like an OEM plus type of thing, grippy, grippier tires, maybe a little
big brake kit, maybe something.
maybe a big brake kit. I guess that just depends on how often.
Yeah, if you're not tracking it,
and what I'm doing when I am driving it. Am I coasting down, the highway, or am I, I don't know if you know this, but there's not really any canyons in Ohio.
There's also
what are you
lots
talking
of
about?
potholes, too.
That's true.
Have you guys been down to the Triple Nickel yet?
I've not.
Oh, dude, Triple Nickel in the Hocking Hills. There's some actual good, not canyon, but
hills.
Good hills, and I would say forest roads.
Okay.
We're not too far from
Tail
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like Tail. Very, very similar to Tail. There's actually some, amazing roads down in Hocking Hills that are really well paved, and you drive on them, and you're like, this is like a Grand Prix course. Why is this so nice? Because there's nothing around. So that might be a great Hocking Hills car. Okay, so what did we come up with the total value for this?
So 21.2. I'm gonna say I'm doing tires and exhaust. Let's say the tires are $1,000.
Okay. So I'd say wheels are probably $1,000. Tires are probably another $800. So say $1,800.
Fair.
Because you're probably getting more Michelin pilots.
Yeah. I'd get some,
nice summer tires.
What's the new ones? I don't know. The 4S.
4S, yeah.
Okay.
Pilot Sport.
And then exhaust, probably $2,000, $2,000-3,000 for an exhaust on these.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. I would.
2,300, I think, is a good. $23,000.
Fair. And I mean, let's say I spend $2,500 on coils, and another. I have no idea what like a proper suspension tuning goes for. Let's say $2,000.
Yeah, well, let's say like alignment and tuning goes for $800.
Okay.
You're looking at $28,600 all in. Sorry, we're writing this on a dry erase board at the moment.
And then with my
I'm also
extra
using
money,
my left hand, so it doesn't work very well.
Dude, that's pretty good for you. I thought you were left-handed based on that writing.
That's pretty good.
Dude, you're ambidextrous as hell. But then again, I'm looking at how you're holding that pen, and I'm like, that is legit frightening how you're holding that pen.
Yeah, it's as good as I could do.
He's holding it like a shank. He's going to stab you with it.
Just
It's going to pen you.
have my whole hand wrapped around
I'm going to
it.
show you how to sign your name.
And then maybe, you know, we got a little bit to play with. Maybe I'd throw on like a carbon ducktail spoiler on there.
Okay. You guys really took this seriously, by the way. And I'm really upset.
Did you not?
I mean,
It's funny because you were asking us for specific price breakdowns of what parts, and then you're going out and saying that we took it really seriously when you're grilling us
I didn't
with
even
questions.
have parts.
all I'm saying is like you guys really did the homework, and I asked you guys to, and I feel bad for being like cheater homework. Like I looked off somebody else's homework on this, and like this is what I would probably try to do for $30K. Like honestly, no joke, there is going to be night and day differences between all of what we picked. I'm very curious though that the two German fans picked two German cars. I am also a German fan, but I am choosing one from the land of the rising sun. So I found a 2000 it's a 2000 Mazda Miata NB for $8,900.
I'm not very surprised.
Well, I am very surprised because this thing has 101,000 miles.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's the miles?
101,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fairly clean.
No, I was referencing I'm not very surprised that you picked a Miata.
The interior, let's just say the interior can go.
Needs replaced
It
entirely.
just can go. So, one of the things that I was thinking is like this is going to be a track weapon. Right.
Okay.
And so the very first thing is I really like the flying Miata part. So okay, let's get me on the board. So I'm gonna round up. So we got a NB Miata. We're gonna say it's $9,000. NB Miata. Also, how he writes is frightening me as well. Like that B is like what a serial killer does. Who
doesn't connect.
Who does
It
the
doesn't connect in
line?
the
Who
middle.
does the line down and then the swoop? And he did the swoop from the bottom, not the top. Anywho,
It also doesn't connect to the stick.
So $9,000. All right. So if you peruse the Flying Miata website, they have not only so many different options. You can go turboed on this build. You can install a V8 in this build. You can do just about anything and everything you want. So first thing is this is going to be a turbo NB. Jesus Christ, what is happening over here?
That's E46.
That's E46.
That is like, did you have a seizure while riding E46?
Again, left
Are
hand.
you 5
prison
years old?
Shank marker.
5-year-old. My 2-year-old writes 46 better than that.
I
So
also don't want to rip my headphones out, so
The excuses rolling in.
I mean, it's like he's a race car driver. I mean, I'm still faster on the simulator than the two of you. Not by much, but still faster.
you have
You really gonna
professional
mention that
race
now?
experience.
Are you really gonna bring that up now?
You have taken professional race courses. I hope
You're,
so.
you're a paid video gamer. It's a video game.
He's got sim shoes.
He's they were pelotes.
No, he's making fun of me. I have shoes that I use when I use my race sim at home.
Okay.
They're just Nike skateboard shoes.
They
that are
just
flat.
have a really nice. Yeah, I gotcha. All right, so we're gonna turbo this SOB. The turbo kit for this all in, so that's everything included, is $4,400.
Not too bad.
Not too shabby. And we're going to go with the Flying Miata Fox shocks. So this is the race version of these shocks. Is real nice. I mean, these are probably a little aggressive for the street. Full in the NB Miata kit is $1,750. Okay. So Flying Miata makes some amazing parts. They know what they're doing, and they know how to really set these things up. So $1,750. Everything's going to have to sound a lot better. And so if we're going to do that, we're going to have a nice little exhaust on this system. Flying Miata has amazing parts. They've got a Mazda speed exhaust and mid-pipe. I'm going to say I might go with an aftermarket. I haven't decided on which one yet. And the aftermarkets range anywhere from like $800 all the way up to like $25. So I'm going to say $2,000 for like a MagnaFlow exhaust, catback exhaust system on that. From there, we're also going to add other suspension components. So that's bushings. This thing's got some miles, so we're going to really up this thing. So we're going to add another $1,500 in suspension components beyond the coilovers. And then we're going to add a $2,500 Wilwood large brake kit on all four corners. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to throw on about $1,000 worth of... I liked the BBS wheels that are on there, so $1,000 for wheels, and then we're going to do $800 for tires. So we're going to go for some sticky tires. Jess, have you got my total running so far? What are we at?
I sure do. We're at $23,950.
$23,950. Oh, I forgot a roll cage. Roll cage is going to be $800.
$24,750.
So for $24,750, you're going to have the best time. Road.
Did you do wheel
or track.
or tires?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1800's got the wheels and tires. So
That's solid, man.
What are we at? $24,550?
$24,750.
$24,750. Write that down. $24,750.
You going out for a nice steak dinner with the remainder?
The extra? No, it's all about tires at that point. It's all
you got to buy all your backup
it's
tires
the extra
for racing.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're gonna hit the
helmet,
the racetrack,
you gotta
have a little bit of breathing room. So you're talking about a little bit $6,000. Okay, with $6,000, you can throw a hard top in there, and that's probably $2,500. Some racetracks require the hard
you'll
top.
You'll still have $3,000 to play with.
So my idea is that now after that, you have excess for spare tires. Right, because
and track days,
and track days, and all these things. So this is going to be a fun toy that you actually get to enjoy, right? And that is a well-built, full. Like, there's not much else you can do to that Miata.
That's a track weapon.
And so at say it's $2,600, you still have $2,000, at $4,000 to rebuild that motor when you blow it up on the track.
Yeah.
And those motors aren't cheap, or they're not expensive.
They're cheap.
Yeah, they are fairly inexpensive. Cheap. Yeah, they are cheap, right?
I don't think they blow up that often, anyways.
With the turbos, they tend to. They overheat.
No internals.
So the turbo kit does include some internals, but not like forged rods or pistons or anything like that.
It's not a fully built.
What kind of boost we running?
So on that boost from stock, I think. Let me find out.
Like 10 pounds or something.
15 pounds.
15.
Yeah, I was wondering 12 to 15.
And it says here that you can up it more, but like it's built on the idea that you'd be running about 15 pounds of boost.
That sounds safe. I mean,
the one thing that I would say that maybe gets this build in a little bit of hot water is that we haven't considered a boost controller. We haven't considered any of the ECU tunes and things like that.
Does that include like a waist?
I did tune, but that's just because. I don't know. It's one of those things where, we could talk about electronics and having someone map everything and do custom tunes and all of the controllers and stuff, and that can get pricey itself. Yeah. But I don't think we're trying to get into the nitty-gritty of all of the details of some of the stuff here. I mean, there's so many options for everything that we've been talking about, too. I mean, there's so much variance. You could change one number from 1,000 to 1,500 just based on one small option. So,
I mean, now that you're saying it, I guess there's even some, small engine tweaks you could do on the M3 even, you know.
Oh, yeah.
If you really wanted to go there.
Timings.
I mean, it's NA and all that stuff.
Yeah, but you could work on
make it a little
timing.
You want to get
more-
one of those Chinesium turbos on there? Here's the I mean, I would love that. Here's the problem you
Get
get.
a Manhart kit.
Here's the
baby.
Here's the problem though that you get with those two motors. They're not cheap. And if you blow an M3 motor, and this is the same thing I got into with looking at tracking like a 2001 911. Even though it could have 150,000 miles on it, you blow that motor, that's a $30,000 motor.
Yeah, you might as well just buy another track car.
Yeah, it's irrelevant what you do to it. So, like, and that's why I thought about the NB, and like, no one who knows me is surprised by this, is that motor and that car is expendable. Like, if any of those things go wrong, the car dies, take all the parts off of it, put it on another one. And
There's a million of them.
Million. Now, I will say this one's been beat, and it's showing a little bit of wear, and it's probably not a great example, and it's $9,000.
Rust?
No, the photos don't show rust, but I'm guaranteeing rust.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was driven.
NA and NB Miatas are known to have quarter panel rust and like rust in the footwells. Like, that's the first thing you do is you tap on the footwells, and if you hear it like the dull thud, walk away, because it's got just water sits in there because it doesn't evacuate those running boards like it should. I think the drains are actually near the rear of the running boards, and the car kind of already sits forward, so it just pools there, and if you're not on an angle, it kind of drains. So, like, even that said, like, if you had to eventually put in some body work, like, that's why I left $6,000 worth of extras. Right, it's that it's giving you room for your project car to make the project car better. Paint. My buddy has an NA, so Michael Andreski, one of our old co-hosts who's still around, but just hasn't been on the show lately. Like, he's got an NA that he spent. I don't think $6,000. He spent like a good amount, but not like a crazy amount of money, redoing an NA Miata. It's a M spec, like one of their not M like BMW, but M series. Very special edition cars that they only made like I think 500 or so for the United States. So a pretty rare car, and he made it real nice. It's going to be a real nice car. Now he spent money on it. Now that car is probably worth about $15,000 to $16,000.
Yeah, and the NAs are only going to go up. You know,
which
pop-ups alone.
Insane.
Well,
that
I mean,
is
you
so
think about
insane
it.
for us to think.
As people are
Those used
using
to
them
be-
on the track more and more, there's less and less of them available.
But
So
those used to be
people are
our
willing
like
to spend more.
throwaway
be-
options.
Literally, I would find.
Well, that's why there's so many thrown away.
2 years ago, a year or two ago, I could find a decent one for $3,000,
Yeah.
and it was very drivable.
Sure. I mean, and the one that he bought, I think I don't know for sure, so his wife can't really sue me if I don't get the numbers right, but like, I think he paid like $3,000 for his NA. It came with a hardtop, came with 2 sets of wheels and tires on both.
That's nice.
Spacers, like the whole 9 yards. The guy did. Now, it needed work, and I went through it, and I was like, look, the footwell's wet, like, it's got rust here. It's going to need work. But he goes, for what I'm going to do with it, he's already put a cage in it. He got racing seats in it. Like, that car is going to be super built, and it's going to be a phenomenal car to play around with. And if you're someone who wants to have fun, that's why I chose my car. Like, I'm biased, right? So, all right. So now that we've got our budget builds on the board, I am way under budget. The two of you are pretty dang close, but we still have money. Like, if the two of you were like, we're going to go to do some track days, neither one of you would be out that much money from the original build.
Yeah.
Alex, I mean, honestly, why did you pick what you did? Why did you do what you did?
Honestly, because it's just such a good deal for that car. I've always really, really loved them. The performance is there. The looks are there. The sound is there. It's a great spec on that car. And, if you're not on the track, convertibles are the way to go. They're just awesome for a drive.
I think in that car, that might be when it was just edging out where it's like, yes, convertibles make this, I'm going to do air quotes, normal car more entertaining because you have the entire world around you.
Right, exactly. And it was pretty
How
complete.
many miles on that?
91.
You're an idiot.
I know.
91,000 miles on a BMW product, it's going to blow. All of the plastics in that motor are going to just degrade and disintegrate, and you're going to be paying for pretty soon like a full-on radiator job, all that. New radiator,
He did a
hose.
lot of work on it previously.
He's lying. All used car salespeople lie. He's lying. He's got to be lying.
No, it's
There's
a private.
no way that car is that cheap. There's no way. No way.
Yeah.
It looks. I will say it looks a little too good to be true, but
It could still
It
just be a
looked
really
really
good deal.
but
clean.
if it is, I'm gonna have a great time in those 9,000 miles.
But I think your build is a little lacking. Like, it's a great
How
car. It just lacks. It's a
too
great.
basic.
It's a great
It's
car to.
mostly stock.
I think here's the thing. It's a great car to start, but it's a project car. This car
Okay.
should match your personality, and I think that car's a little safe
That's fair.
for what you wanted to do.
So can I bring up my other car then?
Well, hold on. So we've got
Okay.
spares. All right. I want us to argue about these. Jess, I want to get your opinion on Alex's car.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great car, but yeah, I mean, it's relatively stock. Not much like done to it past buying the
I mean,
vehicle.
for crying out loud, there's no forced induction. None.
Yeah.
No forced induction.
You heard that engine?
There's no turbos. There's no superchargers.
No.
It does sound really good stock. I will not lie. It has a really good
that is
sounding
very
engine.
true.
But
No mechanical fuel injection.
I mean,
I'll
but
say
if
that.
you're
Not
getting
about speed, man.
if you're getting a
What?
the project,
Who are you?
The project wasn't necessarily we need a car for the track.
This is true. I'm leaving it gray so we can have this argument.
And I similarly to him, this is the kind of car that I would love.
Would you
because
take the BMW over your Audi?
over my car
Yeah.
here? No.
Why?
I don't think
Why?
I would because this is the car I've always wanted. It's the next practical
But why?
upgrade.
Why would you not want an E46 M3? Like, that is such an amazing car. So what makes your Audi
My
better?
current Audi that I own.
No, the one that you projected, the project car.
no.
It's more practical. It's not a convertible. It's a hardtop. It's 4 doors.
Yeah, but I have another car for that. I don't care about practicality.
See, that's where I'm.
Okay.
The way that I thought about it is, this is what I would love to have right now. I would
Okay.
not even
Okay.
have my car. This is the next logical upgrade for me, and I would love to have a car like this. Where,
Okay.
But the other thing is, with this project, I could actually mod it. I'm too concerned with my personal
Sure.
daily driver. I'm not going to mod something like a daily driver.
Remember, folks, the rules of the game were $30,000 or less. That's what we all had. I said it's a project car. I didn't say what we would be doing with the project.
Yeah,
So
and I've always wanted to build out a car and make a modified car, but me personally, I'm not going to do that to my daily driver. But something like this, I could do, and then I have 2 vehicles, one that's a little bit more neutral and just
yeah, but why would you have your second vehicle be a coupe when you already had a coupe? Why would you not have the fun of the BMW with
Well,
the convertibleness?
Yeah, I'd have 2 sedans, but I'm just thinking.
What are you, a dad?
Yeah, I am. Yep, that is the plan. At some point in my life, having 2
one
vehicles
day.
that make
One
sense. But
Why
no,
do you want
How German of you.
yeah,
yeah.
no. It's just
Why would you want another car?
It's
Why would
just
you
the
want
car I've
to
always
not
wanted.
be-
I'm not a huge fan. I love the E46, but I have never been a huge fan of soft tops.
Here's the thing, though. Your Audi S4 is like as good as Audis are. You have not like fixed any of the major problems with Audis. Understeer, understeer, understeer. That car, you did a little bit of suspension work,
I'm not going to be tracking it.
but are you driving it for fun? Because here's the thing: I've driven S4s. Who knows? Yes, this car is a Prestige, so it has the major package. But one of the packages that is up in the air that you didn't tell us it had was the Sport package. The Sport package is what includes the rear limited slip differential. And if that car doesn't have one, I've driven plenty of S4s and S5s without it. They push like freaking steamrollers. The moment you approach a corner, whether it be on a roundabout, whether it be on a backcountry road, whether it be on a track, if you're doing anything fun and then try to turn the wheel, it's like every time. My dad's got an S5, and I told him, you bought the wrong one. He's like, no, I love my car. It's so great. It pushes, and it outsteers. Now he goes, well, that's not what I bought it. It's the convertible version, which is fantastic. It is a fantastic car. But the moment you start to approach 8/10, 7/10, that car pushes and is safe. And you have not done much to really address that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is kind of the base build, and I'm kind of leaving room for, hey, down the road I can make more improvements as far as the performance goes. This is my general combination of aesthetic but also some performance modifications. Down the road, if I was to go start taking it to the track and do some of those other things, I'd be looking at the big brake kits. I'd be looking at what you're saying, more of the suspension and kind of the race bits.
Sure.
But here, this is just I'm going to Cars and Coffee sort of weekend car that I'm like, I'm proud of my build. It looks sweet. It's still a fun car to drive. It's fast.
So would you equate this in terms of watches as a Citizen watch or a Seiko watch?
I mean...
Because it's a flex, but not a big flex.
It's more of I've always been a fan of
Maybe
kind of like
G-Shock.
if you know type of stuff.
Okay.
I'm like that with fandoms. I'm like that with everything.
OnlyFans.
Not that kind of fans. I'm like that with a lot of things in my life. I really
Understated.
I'm not overtly, hey, this is my thing in your face.
So understated appreciation of what it is.
A car guy is going to be like, oh, that's a sweet build. But most people are going to be like, oh, that's just a sedan.
Sure.
But it's still like a pretty awesome car, and it's a capable car. But it also would look great just at it would just look great at like Cars and Coffee or whatever I might be doing on the weekend, just having fun. But then at the end of the day, I can still take my friends or be like it's a very usable car as well.
You're wrong.
That's fine.
The answer is always and
Miata.
forever will be MITIA.
Yeah. No,
Actually, that's not how you spell me. MIATA.
the Miata.
The Miata.
Miata.
Miata. The Miata is always the answer. Forever will be. It's like, look, I understand what you're building, and this might be the right choice for you, but it's absolutely wrong for this challenge. Absolutely intelligently. Yeah, you can bring a couple people in relative comfort, but you know what? It's pretty cramped back in the back of an A4.
It is.
There is no practicality in owning a race car ever.
Yeah, it's baller as shit.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But there's nothing practical.
I didn't say it had to be practical. Your argument
I know.
is null and void.
It's the same argument you're making.
I know.
You're using your car wrong.
You are using your car wrong for fun.
Hey, I have fun in different ways than you.
This is very true, but it's the reason you're wrong is because I have maximized the entire potential of my car.
Yeah, but you left $5,000 on the table
because
your car sucks.
Because I need to insure this. I need to insure everything.
Okay.
Oh, is this including taxes and insurance and
title fees?
Everything? Yeah. Are we getting it registered?
You know, just because I have a better car for under the price that you guys do, and I have a little bit of pocket change after this build, doesn't mean that I'm wrong.
You build in my car's gonna break.
Oh yeah, it's called spare part coverage.
Yeah,
I'm building in the fact that I'm gonna run the shit out of this car and just absolutely toast some things, and you know what? Potentially break some stuff, but you know what? I'm gonna be able to afford it faster, easier than any of your guys' parts.
Is it street legal?
It is absolutely street legal.
Are you sure?
Oh, 100%. There's nothing in that car that's not street legal. So this car, would I want to drive it on the street? Probably not.
You'd have to drive it to the track without a trailer.
So, for $5,000, I can afford a trailer.
Yeah, but now when it breaks, you're sunk.
You know what? The point being,
that's what the truck's for.
Exactly. The point being is that I built a project car that I would be happy with. I think that when I think of a project car, I think this is the ultimate toy. I'm hearkening back to when I wanted a motorcycle. I want something that is bringing me excitement, bringing me adrenaline, bringing me joy that not everybody has to understand. But only the people who are really into it understand. And a lot of car culture is this way. I think Miatas are especially that way. I've had people and friends that are like, freaking Miata, man, that's like a girl's car. Like it's a two. And I go, give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes with you in my car, and I will change your mind. And every single time.
And then you throw them into the sidewall.
Yeah, I throw them around in a turn that they're like, there's no way you're going to take this. You need to slow down. Slow down. Slow down. Slow down. Slow down. And then I take the turn at 60 miles an hour with no problem. And they're like, what just happened? I said, Miata, man. It's Miata. It's always the answer. And here's the thing. The build that I built, I thought was like, I'm not using cheap parts. I'm not using Chinesium. I'm not using fake stuff. You asked me about Boost. The original Boost kit says it'll run on the standard ECU. So you don't even have to do a Boost controller.
All right.
But it says that you can if you would like. So even if you wanted to go into the fact of buying a Boost controller, buying a new ECU, getting the tune, that's maybe $2,000, right? So we're still at where we're talking about previously, and I'm under my $30,000 budget. Not by much in terms of car world, but I am. Yeah. And I think that this car is as much fun as you can have legally with, and sure, you can do track days, you can do road rallies. You're going to look a little silly because it's going to have, like all these go fast parts, and it's a Mazda Miata, but you're never going to have anything that comes close to the number of smiles per miles than you can in that car.
Which is fair.
And it is, and could be, a convertible, much like your E46, right? So you got the whole world. You've got the safety of the roll cage, so you are safe like a hardtop like yours. But if you wanted to go racing, put the hardtop on. Nobody cares, right?
Yeah, no, and then I don't know if it's possible to be sad well into Miata. So that's
only if
you can be sad. You can be sad in M3 for sure.
Not there is a way to be sad. It's when you pull up to a light next to like anything with a V8
or
anything with a loud straight
or when
pipe.
you take a turn poorly on the track and roll it. That's pretty sad.
I have yet to see one roll which is devoid of like. It's not the car's fault.
Or you go into the wall. We'll say you're pretty sad at that point.
Yeah, I have seen that. But I've also seen that in like E30 M3s.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's probably like the only way you're going to be sad in a Miata.
Oh,
like,
I gotcha. Yeah,
you're running it into a wall or you messed up on the track. Like that's the extent of sadness in a Miata.
Sure.
Whereas other cars, it's like, crap, I have a $4,500 repair, which is true of both Alex and I's cars.
Yeah, you could blow an injector and be out.
Well, there's $7,000.
Yeah, a lot of money.
I need a new engine.
You can buy an entire new motor for an NB Miata for like $1,200.
Hey,
hey, whatever.
I thought you were gonna be like, prove it, and I was gonna pull it up.
I have no recourse for this argument. You're right. But the M3 is cool.
I think, honestly, at the end of the day, we all enjoy our picks for different reasons, and we're all looking for something a little bit different out of the project.
I will say that the Miata build's awesome. And if it was...
For sure.
If I were building a track car, and it came down to my pick and yours, I would go Miata all day.
Oh, 100%.
Mine wouldn't even be in the conversation if I'm looking strictly... I'm taking this only
but
to
you know
the track.
What? If we went to, like you pointed out, if we went to a Cars and Coffee between all of us and yours was sitting next to his and mine was sitting next to the BMW, the Audi would probably look the nicest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's partially why I went with that route. Is like that's the kind of use I'd be looking to do is like I want something that aesthetically looks awesome, but also for my use case of just daily running around doing whatever driving is going to be incredibly fun for me.
And honestly, going into like the Hocking Hills or the Triple Nickel, the 555 here in Ohio, or any of those like nice backcountry roads,
totally fine.
I would much rather be in the E46 convertible.
It's convertible.
It's a convertible,
and it's comfortable.
I could bring my 2 children. Right,
it's comfortable.
So my wife
too.
would prefer the E46.
Yeah,
it's comfortable. It's fast. It's fun. It makes a good noise. We're enjoying everything about it. So suffice it to say, we're all right and we're all wrong all at the same time. So that means, listener or Facebook viewer, the choice comes down to you guys. Which build do you think best exemplifies the $30,000 project car? Who knows? that will be on our Facebook page. Go to Facebook, search Midwest Motoring Podcast. We'll put all 3 of these cars up there so you can see them. Make sure that you consider what the modifications may be, not just the pictures. But if it's just based on the pictures, I'll lose all day long. But I want to know your opinion, so let's get that on there. And this has been our Midwest Motoring Podcast. Boys, where can we find you? What are you guys working on? Alex, what are you doing, man?
Oh, man, you can find me at my name, Alex Garanzini, on Instagram. It's about the only place I'm at on social media.
What's your gamer tag, or where can people find you on Forza?
Okay, gamer tag. I'm on PS4 and PC now. I go by coolbeans_48.
Cool Beans 48, got it. Jess, where are you at, man?
Yeah, I'm Jess Myers 5, JESSMEYERS 5. Pretty much every platform, Instagram. I also run another account, Columbus_exotics on Instagram.
Go check them out.
Just highlight some cool stuff in the Columbus area. Been doing that a while, but yeah, do that. Go to watch events, that sort of thing. That's where I've been.
And I'm Matt Pesaconis. You can find me on Xbox platforms at Scarface B. There's plenty of other places you can find me. You can find me on Instagram at Sir Pesaconis. This has been the Midwest Motoring Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next one. Be good and be safe.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.